emissions that went to make that product belongs to you. And then he ordered people in increasing carbon emissions responsibility, and he integrated that curve. So you start at 0 with the person who's emitting the least amount of carbon, and you end up at 7 million tons with the person who's emitting the most amount of carbon. And you get a curve that looks like that, and he showed that the richest 500 million people in the world are emitting half of the world's fossil carbon. I'm sure you all know about statistics for America. America has less than 5% of the people in the world, but America emits 25% of the world's carbon. So you see a major disparity, and most Americans are in the top 500 million. But the top 500 million also consists of people in India, China, the elites everywhere who are large consumers. And this disparity causes problems, because everyone at the bottom is now trying to get to the top. And we also have our own aspirations to consume just like we do. And the world really cannot support that. Okay, so anytime you have a major disparity like this, it's an issue. So, the biomass of the planet. And we consume almost half of the photosynthetic output of the planet. That is a major disparity. It's as if each one of us is behaving as if we are tigers. It's our consumption that is causing this disparity. So as a result, the other species are basically dying off. So climate change is really not just about climate change, it's about extinction, it's about life. And the main reason for that major disparity in the consumption of photosynthetic output is the way we eat. It is actually number one. So to make 1 pound of potatoes, you need 60 gallons of water to fall on it, in the form of rain or irrigation or whichever way you do it. So with 60 gallons of water, you make 1 pound of potatoes, and you need 12,000 gallons of water to make 1 pound of beef. Now let's say you want, instead of, this is for factory farm beef, and let's say you want to go to grass-fed beef, which is natural, right? And with grass-fed beef, you actually double the amount of water you need. So it's 24,000 gallons of water. So this major disparity in the water footprint of food is really responsible for what has happened to the forests. Now if you look at food consumers, we can take the same curve and you plot out who are consuming all that meat and dairy and who don't have access to that. And you notice that about 2/3 of the people in the world are really vegans. So they're mostly plant eaters. Not because they want to be plant eaters, but because they have no choice right now. If given a choice, they would also become meat and dairy consumers. So the top 1/3 are really the meat and dairy consumers. So most of the forest destruction that has happened is because of the top 1/3 of humanity. Now what happens when the other 2/3 also want to consume the same way? There's hardly anything left to begin with. So we have a major issue. Here is a map of India. This map was published by the Forest Survey of India in 2005. It's color coded. The dark green is very dense forests, and we hardly have any lumber in India, except for near the Sundarbans and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Dark green represents greater than 70% vegetation cover. Light green is 10% to 40% vegetation cover, and we have some of that in Assam and in the Western Ghats. Yellow, which looks like green here, which is why you see some confusion. Yellow is open forest, which is 10% to 40% vegetation cover, and that's most of the dots there. And red is scrub, which is less than 10% vegetation cover, and that's sprinkled throughout the country. So when the Forest Survey of India says that India's forest cover is 23%, they're actually counting the area of every dot there. But most of it is basically scrub. The actual vegetation cover of India is less than 7%. And the tragedy of it is that 200 years ago, India was 90% covered by very dense forests. So it's mostly over 200 years we have done this kind of destruction because of industrialization.